This is not usually how you move your P1 around the shop, but I figured since we have it in this state, why not? Woo! It's actually not that bad. How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish. This is my flooded McLaren P1 build, and I messed up.
Now, some would probably say buying a destroyed $2 million hypercar was a huge mistake, but not me. You see, the project started off as a huge challenge and only got harder as time went on. But I'm loving every second of it because I get to build my dream car and share it with the world, for better or worse. Now, my issue started when I said this in the last episode.
I have to make a decision, and I've made a decision to completely ditch the hybrid drive assembly. So this is just gonna be a car with a ton of power. And my big mistake was not explaining to you guys why I'm making such a drastic change to the build. So let me take a moment to convince you that not only are we building it better, but we are making the best McLaren P1 on Earth.
This is a McLaren F1. With a 240 mph top speed, it was the fastest car in the world for over a decade and perhaps the most significant modern sports car in history. It was my ultimate dream car because it blew everything else out of the water. And it did so because of one simple thing.
And that is power to weight ratio. You see, the amount of horsepower that it takes to move the weight of a car can drastically change every aspect of the car's performance. A better power to weight ratio means better acceleration, better handling, and better fuel economy. Now in front of me is the carbon fiber tray that used to hold the hybrid battery in the P1. Now we don't have the hybrid battery here anymore, but this tray used to hold 250 pounds in batteries. Now if you add in the hybrid drive assembly, the lines, the coolant, the e-motor, you're talking about 400 pounds removed from an already lightweight car. And since we're looking to get around 1,400 horsepower at the engine, we've effectively doubled the power to weight in this car, which gives it a really good chance of being the fastest McLaren ever made. Now there are a lot of other reasons why keeping a hybrid system in this car makes no sense, but I am not an authority on electrified vehicles. But here's someone who is.
Now, the hybrid system in the McLaren P1, as cool as it is now outdated as its 10-year-old technology. Now, from modern standards, it doesn't do much for the car anymore. And I stand by this statement. I do not believe that the hybrid system in the P1 does much for the car from a modern standard. Most of the comments are emotional responses and say, you're an idiot for not wanting to keep the hybrid drive system. The hybrid drive is what made a McLaren P1 a P1 so special. Now it's just a 650 or a 720. Now it's going to be like every other McLaren. No, it's going to be faster. If he keeps the hybrid system, it'll be like every other McLaren P1. People don't know what the definition of the unique is. It will be the only P1 of its kind.
And as you can imagine, building a truly one-of-one hypercar in this bad of shape comes with some massive challenges. Ironically, of the electrical variety.
So what I'm talking about is that I need to do a lot of work in today's episode, and that has to do with this. This is the wiring harness for the McLaren P1. I've never done any of this. I'll have to rewire stuff, I'll have to splice stuff in and clean stuff, and I hope that you'll be along for the ride because this is gonna take quite a bit of time. So this process is one that's new to me, but it's actually quite easy because you can do it with a bunch of household chemicals. Now what I have is I have baking soda, distilled water, vinegar, and salt, and I have my handy dandy ultrasonic cleaner. So the idea is I have a lot of corrosion on the terminals of this wiring harness. And the terminals are really the important bit because that is what makes the connection with the rest of the harness. I think the wires mostly are okay. We're gonna check those later, but I wanna clean up these terminals as best I can. See, this is a grounding strap for the car. This actually goes on the carbon tub, and you can see it's had some better days. So we're gonna try and see what this method actually does. I looked it up on YouTube, and I know YouTube is a really good way to find out what works in life. So we have a red Solo cup, and then we have some vinegar. We're gonna put vinegar in this cup. Then we're gonna put our Morton salt. I don't think it has to be Morton salt. This video is not sponsored by Morton salt. And we just put some salt in. Look at that. I don't know how much is too much. That's probably way too much. I want to put this in there, and then it should neutralize a bunch of the rust and corrosion. And we're going to leave that in there. Ooh, it's already, look at that, it's bubbling. Oh, it's actually doing stuff. It's bubbling pretty good. All right, so we're going to leave that in there for a few minutes, and then we're going to get on to the ultrasonic cleaner. So it's about 5 minutes later, and look at that. That looks freaking awesome, and I didn't even have to touch it with the brush, but even now, it's just a soft nylon brush. We can clean all this off. Now we have to neutralize it because this is like a very, very salty solution. I'm not a chemist or anything. I don't really know how chemistry works, but I do know that you have to basically wash things off. So in our ultrasonic cleaner, I have put about 3 gallons of water, and then I have put a heater on, and we put in a bunch of baking soda, and that's bubbling, and I'm led to believe that bubbling is good. I'm just gonna turn it on for a few minutes, and then see what happens. Now we can take off our newly cleaned piece. Look how good that looks. I mean, that looks fantastic. So I think this bodes well for our harness. All we have to do is agitate it a little bit with a nylon brush, but also, I mean, that's already coming out, but also I have a brass brush, which is a little bit more abrasive. We can get some of that shine to it. Look at that. All right, so all I have to do is repeat this process for every single wire in the car. I don't think we can do this.
Many hands make light work, and we used our many hands to make sure the lights worked in my P1. Progress was slow, but very promising.
We have done quite a bit of work, and you can't really see most of it on camera, but here's what you can see. This was a complete green mess, and you can see right here, these are the fuses that came out of the fuse box. Like, look at that. That is disgusting. And a lot of these, the little ends were stuck in here, but with this method, with the water and baking soda and vinegar and salt, we ended up getting this to a nice copper finish here, and we are going to have to go in the back and fix all of these, but realistically, I think this is totally usable. All the wires here, they're not super like corroded. You don't hear any crunching. They're still really pliable. It doesn't mean that they're 100%, but this does bode well for the rest of the harness because every other connector that we've done so far has cleaned up really, really well.
Now, while this process can show results quite quickly, it's important that anything that previously had corrosion on it is cleaned a few times and dried fully, or else all the work we did would have been for nothing.
So I don't know if you've noticed that I've been drinking this for the last few weeks, and this is a sponsor of today's video, ARUP. Now, what makes this special is that what's in here is just water. That's all it is, it's plain water. But this guy, that's what's called a scent pod. And these are flavored by scent. So if you just pull this up and you drink, you actually get the flavor through scent. It's called scent flavored taste. So ARUP makes drinking water fun, which in turn tells your brain to drink more water. It's a win-win. And there's also no calories, sugar, or any other junk in comparison to a sugary carbonated beverage. This stuff is actually good for you because all it is water. So ARUP has lots of different tasty flavor pods. My personal favorite is peach. Now I urge all of you guys to go check out ARUP in the video description below because I've been using this and I can't get enough of it. So go check it out right now.
The harness still had one major hurdle, and that was the absolutely disgusting fuse box. I poured a gallon of vinegar in a tub. Then I dunked the rusty box in and hoped for the best.
Ta-da! Oh, nice, dude, look at that. That looks really good. This looks nearly brand new. I mean, we can go over it a few more times. I'm gonna go ahead and call that good. I'm gonna call that real good. If you have some water and baking soda and vinegar and salt, and then you get a ultrasonic cleaner that's about $500, you too can rescue a fuse box that was literally in the ocean. Dude, this is amazing. We might have a working harness after this.
Now, I know what you're thinking. There's no way any electrical components exposed to salt water could have ever survived, right?
So one thing I've always been curious about are these fans. They're the Radiator Fans, and they've just been full of sand and salt. But in theory, they should be sealed against the elements. And I got my power probe here again, and just like we tested the window over there, I'm gonna test this guy.
You think it's gonna work?
Maybe, let's see.
Oh.
It works.
It definitely does.
Woo! Okay. There you go. It's good as new.
So as we left the harness to dry, we went to my friend Joey, the frame doctor, to check on the status of my P1's roof scoop, which we sent over to him a few days earlier so he could fix the pretty extensive flood damage.
Okay, Joey, so it's been a few days. So what was the process like?
So the process basically, I don't know exactly how the roof got hurt. We repaired the shape, and then we put a laminate on top, and then basically sanded, sprayed, sanded, sprayed, sanded, sprayed, sanded, sprayed.
Lots of little things, yeah.
Sanded, sprayed. So it's basically a veneer on top of carbon,
Yeah,
which makes it carbon.
yeah,
It's not like veneer on plastic.
yeah. So it's carbon and carbon and carbon.
Right, so it's not like it does anything weird.
It's been repaired there, underneath, and you know, for something that just went down the road 500 yards, not really driving under its own power, there's quite a bit of damage.
It did do quite a bit of damage. The water is the big thing, and the sand. The sand. Every time you open the door, there's sand comes out of something.
And we tried to clean it as much as possible.
I know it.
Yeah.
It kind of needs to get. It almost needs to be submerged. And
Listen, we submerged it once, never again. You know, never again.
so you're taking it to SEMA like this?
No.
No.
It's gonna look way different.
Okay.
It's gonna look much different.
Okay.
But I appreciate your work. Thank you so much.
Okay.
If anybody wants any carbon fiber work, like high-end carbon fiber work on a P1 or a like an America's Cup boat,
There's a guy down in Miami.
There's a guy down in Miami. Don't hit up Joey. No, I'm gonna have. I'm gonna have all.
And on the way back from my P1's walk around the block, I got news that some parts had arrived.
Look at this, guys. This is every powder-coated component that I gave to Jonathan at Luxury Choices, and it looks fantastic. What do you think, Jack?
Dude, you know I love this. This is like, you said, should I powder coat this? And I said, absolutely.
Well, it's not just because we powder-coated my stuff, but you got some of your stuff over there too,
Yeah,
so...
just a few parts, just a few things, but dude, this looks really, really good. Like, this is actually going to make the back of the car stand out, like, exactly like you wanted. Like, this is going to be really awesome.
I think so, but let's just take a look at things in detail here. So we have the entire rear subframe, which has never been powder coated by anybody, any McLaren. This is going to be the first in the world. I don't know if that's a good thing, but it looks really, really cool. And then we have all the hydraulic lines, and these are all over the back of the car, and we made them in gold, and it's like a jewelry gold. It's so smooth. We made sure that the gold didn't go on these because this is the flexible part of the line and we didn't want it to flake off. But right here, oh, that's so nice. These are the brake calipers. They're also done in gold with the old Heritage McLaren font. This is exactly what I wanted. And I think with these parts, they're going to be really contrasty, and your eyes are going to be drawn to the gold. And not to mention these are the heat shields, and if you touch it, hey Jack, touch this right here. Touch my gold. Come and touch my gold.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like, it's very smooth.
It is very smooth.
Yeah, so these are aluminum heat shields, and on the 675, I did a gold-plated heat shield, and those were very, very expensive. The problem with the gold is that it starts flaking off after a while, and even the real McLaren gold heat shields that cost $20,000, those flake off after a while, and this is something called Cerakote, and Cerakote is good for like 1400, 1600 degrees, something like that.
It's really durable too. Like, apparently you can get it really, really hot. It like turns bright red and it retains its color. It doesn't change colors. It doesn't flake away, and it's basically like a paint that just, you put it to single stage and it dries with heat.
But right now we're gonna have to put this on the car, and I can't wait to do that because then it's gonna be a whole car again. Then we're gonna be done.
We're gonna do a burnout right away.
So you'll notice that I did my favorite thing, which is put gold foil on a car. And this is, well, it actually has a purpose because the P1 GTR, the race car, actually has gold foil on the firewall or bulkhead here. So I decided that I also have a race car, so now it's gold. And now we have to put the brand new powder-coated subframe back on the car. And I swear I'm only a little bit nervous because you can actually get this wrong. You can make it so it doesn't fit quite well. But we're going to do it anyway because I've done this at least once. Okay. Yep, there we go. All right.
Watch your toes.
Sweet. Okay. it's a little heavy. Should be a little on the heavy side. You know what they say about these P1s? They're heavy.
This is all the weight of the car.
And it has to bring the bottom in.
Closer.
There we go. Just trying to find the hole here. There. Ha-ha!
Success.
Aha! All right. Look at that. We're done.
One piece.
Yay! All right, so that actually wasn't the hard part. The hard part is now aligning this properly. And we have a friend here, Matt from E3 Customs. Turns out he does more than interiors. He also puts on subframes for McLaren P1. So we have our handy dandy angle gauge. And let's see, do we turn this? All right, turn it off. There we go. Okay, hold on. I should probably learn how to use this first. Okay, so I figured this out. Quiet on set! Right now it is zeroed out. If I transfer it to here, the metal of the subframe, it should be 0. So when it starts reading 0, that's when we know we can tighten the subframe to the car. And that's how I know that we won't have a weird thrust angle or anything like that, because you can actually get this wrong. This can be a little bit tilted. So 0 there. Now we just put it right here. Yeah, there we go. That's perfect. That's right on the money. All right, cool. Sounds good. All right. We did it. We did it perfectly. And now we're going to torque this up, and then we're going to put the engine in. Oh, come on.
Look at what I got.
Dude.
This is after it's been powder coated.
This is after it's been cleaned and powder coated. How is there still that much sand in there?
It's crazy, man. Oh. I'm sorry, Jack.
That hit me all the way back here.
It's okay, now at least we can see it. It's easier to clean.
I may have jumped the gun a little bit because this has been powder coated, but I made sure to tell Jonathan not to block off any of the holes because I wanted to tap them all myself. Jack is making noise.
Quiet on set.
So I have a tap and a drill, and we're going to drill all these to make sure that everything goes in the way it's supposed to. And a 1, and a 2, and a... This is not usually how you move your P1 around the shop, but I figured since we have it in this state, why not? Woo! It's actually not that bad.
And without a moment to spare, a big truck came to drop off a big box.
It's like Christmas morning. I'm gonna need tools. I don't need tools. Somebody else to lift this up. 1, 2, 3. Woo! So this is a 720S engine that is highly, highly modified. Everything inside the block, all the internals are forged and very, very strong. And apparently this can handle like 1,600 horsepower. And unlike the 675 LT, we will be testing those limits. The 675, the older McLarens have plastic intake manifolds, and the 720s have a metal one. They also have 2 injectors per cylinder. Also, you can tell right here on the other cars, the 675, the 650S, 12C, the turbos are a lot more tucked in, and the turbos are smaller. So they're TD04s on the older cars. These are TD05, so the turbos themselves are physically larger, and they come out farther on the engine because the manifold design is different, and it allows for better airflow. They're divided flanges. I mean, I'm getting a little bit geeky here, but I don't know. I really like this. It's a Wish.com LS swap. So the engine we just got is nowhere near the 1300 or 1400 horsepower that we need in its current form, but that's where these guys come in. So this is a turbocharger for my P1. This is the one that came off the car. And as you can see, it's in really bad shape. It's rusted and it's seized. I can't move the shaft here. But even in this state, it is a very special thing because it was made specifically for this car. No other car has this turbo. And I figured if we're gonna be doing a special version of this car, why not go to the place where it all started? Now I am far away from home. I'm actually in the Netherlands because this is a place where they make quite a bit of parts, quite a bit of bespoke parts, and one part in particular I want for the P1, and I am in a place called Takon. And if you guys don't know what this place is, you are gonna geek out because it's amazing. Now, the person that told me about this place, he actually works here. He's in charge of all the engineering. His name is Timo. What is it that you guys do here at Takon?
Yeah, we're talking, you just showed it, of course we have a motorsport activities and race and rally cars, but on the other side we are an engineering company who is in full speed of developing turbocharger systems, and especially also the McLaren P1 back in the days.
For those of you that don't know, Takon was the original manufacturer of the P1 turbos. So you'd think that, you know, McLaren does everything. McLaren doesn't actually make anything at all, because they have to farm out the engine and the transmission and the hybrid drive assembly and the turbos to people like you, because you guys have a big motorsport background and a big engineering background. Yeah. And you can have turbos that match basically any application, right?
Yeah, completely bespoke up to customer request, from motorsports or single prototyping towards low series volume projects that we can support. So. And everything in between. So this is the heart of the P1 turbocharger.
There's a TD05 center cartridge.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Yeah, so it's oily, but that's due to the assembly process.
It's pretty small.
It's pretty, quite, eh? Yeah. But it's a really nice, efficient compressor wheel. So these are main components, as I just mentioned. Mm-hmm. You have the turbine side, which is the hot side of the turbocharger, where
that's where the exhaust gases go.
The exhaust gases go through here. They will the cartridge will be assembled like this. So the exhaust gas will spool this wheel, and it sits on the same axle as on the compressor wheel, and the compressor housing will be fitted on this side. So once the turbine side will be spooled up, the compressor will build up pressure and goes into the air intake of the engine. Very, as you can see, basic. There's bits and pieces, of course, on the controls and on the valves, etc. But these are the main topics and components of the P1 turbocharger.
So this, for my power goals of 1300 horsepower, probably won't be enough because these are quite small. They are very engineered. You can see the vane design here is quite intricate and very cool, but I think we can go a little bit bigger, and that's why this guy is right here. So these are the stock turbos from a McLaren 720, and already you can see that this is, if we compare sizing right here, so this is where the exhaust gas goes in on a P1, and then that's where the exhaust gas goes in on a 720. And you can see that this is divided. It's a divided housing, and that's for, actually, what is that for?
So, as you can see, this is a mono scroll, single scroll turbocharger, which is feeding up to one scroll. And if we look into the 720S specification, it's a twin scroll. So that's all working on getting a more efficient and more responsive turbocharger performance. Even if we have to create even more performance and more boost on the turbochargers, we probably have to go a little bit bigger in size of wheels, even more. But of course, all depending on the complete engine setup and the exhaust and the packaging, what we can fit in the P1.
So here's my goals. I want this car to have a better power to weight ratio than a Koenigsegg. We want to do something like 1300 wheel horsepower, which means that we're going to be exploring the limits of how much we can open this up, because the form factor I think has to be very similar to what we have here. Now you guys seem to have your stuff together. You know how to do these things, and we do have 720 turbos here, and they look brand new. So I feel like we could get this done right now.
Probably we can.
Yeah, you got a Dremel? Let's just you know?
Let's do it. Let's put it on the machine.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's take some big wheels in. And yeah, of course, it sounds that easy, but
it's absolutely not.
But of course, turbocharger engineering, it takes a little bit more effort on that to get the right amount of wheel specification and the right amount of air, the right amount of time into the engine, of course. And but again, we are limited with the packaging in the engine bay of this car. So we cannot say we fit in a really big turbo and have enough air into the engine, but it probably will be a very laggy performance and an undrivable car. So we have to find the right balance between the correct wheel setup, which allows the enough air into the engine to get the peak performance, but on the other hand, it has to be as responsive enough that in low RPMs and low speeds that you have a drivable car, which is fun to drive, of course.
Yes, absolutely. So this is not going to be just like a burnout machine or something. This is going to be a real, actual car. And my idea for this car was, if McLaren were to make a special edition of the P1 today that had to compete with the Koenigsegg or Pagani or Lamborghini or whatever, those really, really high-end cars, then what would it look like? And I think it's going to be what we're going to make. So you guys are going to get to work making some turbos. We're going to be back and forth with a lot of specs, with a lot of designs. And we should talk about the design aspect, because you guys do a lot of stuff. Like, this is the hardware stuff. This is what I understand, right?
Yeah.
You guys also do a lot of software stuff too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's go take a look at that. So here is our, dude, what is that? That is so cool. That is dope. So you got some computer models here, and that looks very familiar. That looks very much like a P1 engine bay. Is that what it is?
It's the P14.
The P14. Oh,
Yeah,
this is that's a 720 engine bay. So you're already way ahead.
Yeah.
You're already way ahead.
Sorry.
of us.
Yeah. This is the P12 turbo. But yeah, we're planning to fit it to the P14 turbo, to upgrade it as a P1 Evo.
Wonderful. That's super cool. So the P14, the 720S, and the P12, which is the P1 chassis, it's a little bit hard to, it's a little word salad. The difference is that the P14 turbo, the 720 turbo, they sit a little bit back and they sit a little bit out because they're bigger and they have a different manifold design. And what they're going to do is they're going to account for all that, because they got all the computer wizardry here, and they have all that data, and they're going to see what the difference is between, you know, the power that we want versus the power that we have. And then we're going to see how big of a turbo we can fit in that space. And can you like turn this around and stuff? I don't know. I'm just really fascinated with this.
Yeah.
Dude, this is awesome.
So this is the current P12 turbo. Yeah, we made a special P1 Evo compressor cover.
That's so cool.
That's going to be a lot bigger.
Yes, I think so. So how much power do you think we can get out of this?
Yeah, hopefully around 1600. So,
okay, good.
Well, that's the goal at least.
Yeah. Well, let's make it 2,500. You know,
Let's
like I like a nice round
yeah,
number.
very good, very good.
You said the turnaround time was 24 hours, right?
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, including breaks and stuff like that.
Printing, and then.
Yeah, we got a 3D print.
I'll just upload it to the 3D printer, and then just a couple hours, and we'll have it ready.
Like shop. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, that was a joke. This is going to take quite a long time, because there is actual research and development. These are the guys who made the original P1 turbo. They're not going to put out just a hodgepodge crap like I probably would. So these guys know what they're doing, and this is going to be what sets this car apart power-wise. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you everyone. Thank you. All right, well, I gotta get on a flight.
Very good.
I gotta go home and work on this car.
Yeah, I think you have got a lot of work to do.
All right, see you guys.
Here you go.